Hi everyone, today is September 2nd, 2017, and this is the Duel Assessment, your podcast for Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. My name is Green Ranger.
I'm Deck Tech.
It's been a pretty cool week. We got a whole new event to occupy all of our time. It's a pretty time-consuming event. Well, at first it was. And there's new cards, and then there's also new announcements telling us what's to come for the game, and there's a lot to come for the game. Also, the ranked duels reset, so new season of rewards. So, pretty busy and fun time here at Duel World. Deck Tech, what have you been doing?
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Of course, I've been doing the event like everyone else, trying to get some gems because I wasn't able, on the ones that I had saved up, to get through the new set, which I'm also excited to try out, like you said. So, kind of the only interesting point was that in the little bit of PvP that I've played, at the end of last season, I was just on fire with Hazy Sphinx. I ended up, I forget what it was, like something like a 70 or 80% win rate with it up in the legend ranks from 1 to legend 2 or 3. And then, unfortunately, this season it's not giving me the same results so far. I ran into a bunch of Toon decks at the start of the season, which was weird because I didn't see like almost any Toons the entire last season, but maybe that's just the deck that people use if they want to win quickly at the start of the season. And at least my version of the Hazy Sphinx does not line up well against Toons at all. And then I also ran into a bunch of Necrofear.
Okay.
And it lines up okay against Necrofear, but it's not like I'm not like expecting to see Necrofear. It wasn't designed to beat Necrofear, so those ones went not as well either. And I'm concerned about the Silent Magician. I only faced it once, but I know the deck does not really have much of a way to answer. It doesn't line up well against that deck either. So, like for 1 week, it was my meta-breaking deck, and now I'm not sure if it is that anymore. But it's also, really early in the season. Traditionally, in games like this, especially in Hearthstone, where I have a lot of experience with new seasons, the beginning of the season isn't always the best indicator of what the season's going to be like. So I'm holding out hope that maybe it'll level out, and I'll see a little bit more of what I saw before, and the better players will kind of climb up the ladder really quickly so that the deck will become a good option again, and my win rate can get back up there a little bit. But anyway, that's where I'm at. How are you?
Yeah, that's the strat. Just to add that, the strategy for Hearthstone for me, when it comes to ranked at least, is just to skip like the first 2 weeks and then just play weaker opponents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Much better win rate that way.
Yeah. I put down Zombie Gemini for like a little bit, and then I opened. First of all, this all started when I opened Silent Magician level 8. That was the first UR I got, or SR from the new set, and then I saw this version that DK'd had online, which he only had one as well, but there was a way to get around it. So you needed another card from not Chaotic Compliance, Electric Overload, which I happen to have 3 of. So I actually had this card, and
nice.
I made this deck. And then you told me about the Toons yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And I switched back to Zombie Gemini with a 3rd Supervised, so I changed the deck, and I started winning right away, but I saw no Toons. I was just in silver, and there were no Toons at all, but I was just winning anyways. But the Silent Magician deck seems super strong, and I've only played one PvP game with it, and I've used it for auto-dueling purposes, but it beats the Vagabond all the time. I don't know if that means anything.
I mean, it doesn't mean nothing. It's something.
It just gets to 3,500 so fast.
Yeah.
Even if you only have one, and then my version has 3, the card that reanimates it, or puts it back in your hand or something.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of makes up for having one. But it seems super strong right now. The card has weaknesses, but like it just seems so much faster than all the Red Eyes decks in getting out a really big monster, and it's even bigger than the Red Eyes. So it seems like it has a lot of potential.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's part of the reason why I was buying through the new set is because I thought Silent Magician seemed super good, and I also like the new sets a little bit cheaper
Right.
to get all the stuff that you need. So I thought it was a good option to spend my gems on,
Yep.
and we're gonna talk about that a little bit.
Yep. Yep. And we'll talk about Silent Magician later. So, yeah. Let's move on to the news section. This week in esports, last week's Duel Links subreddit tournament, the one we mentioned last week, there was a bit of Red Eyes representation again. Hopefully, kind of the last time before the new set comes out. But let's see. First place, McMurphy won it with a Phoenix deck, which had specific text against Red Eyes cards like Sphere Karibo and Gale Lizard. He or she also put in a Hand of Nephthys in their side deck, but they didn't. I heard that they didn't use the card. Papillon, second place, used a very standard Red Eye Zombie deck. Third place, Ren, another Red Eye Zombie deck with Ultimate Providence and Tribute to the Doomed. And Pyric, we've heard of Pyric before. Fourth place with a Mill deck. In the tournament overall, the most common decks were Red Eye Zombie and Control, followed by second was Phoenix, and then there were 4 decks each of Toons, Hazy Flame, Balance, Red Eyes, and Angmarl. There were a bunch of other decks in there as well, like Psychic decks, which is pretty cool. We have the link for anyone who wants to read about it. I don't think they have a tournament this week, just because of the event and also the new cards. Probably it's too difficult to make a new deck right now with all the cards and people buying through them. So yeah, we're gonna check out for that if there is gonna be a new one.
Mm.
Is this assortment of decks what you would expect before, like what the past meta was?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, if you combine the 2 forms of Red Eyes, it was like half of the tournament. So that's pretty much what you would expect. Looking through the lists now, I don't see anything really crazy in the top 8 so far. So, I mean, I would think that this is just about how you want to do it. What you would expect when you're entering into a tournament.
Do you think Red Eyes is going to go away completely, or does this new set just is it going to be like splitting time? I think one of these new sets is like one of the new archetypes is just going to take over.
I do think that whenever there's a new set, people get excited and they start playing the new cards. But I also think that we just got Insight available as a reward, and so a lot more people are going to play that as well.
Yeah, when I'm playing a lot of, I have a lot of experience with Zombie Gemini, and the only thing that's preventing me from playing Red Eye Zombie is Red Eye's Insight, because I have 3 zombies and 0 insights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there are a couple of cool decks in the within the link to the tournament that we have in there. There's like a top 8 and honorable mentions link that has various notes, and there's the cool Monarch Hammer Gold deck using the frogs and some soul exchanges and stuff to just get out powerful 1 tribute monsters. That one's pretty interesting. There's a Creator Destiny Draw deck using the BLS and support cards. I don't know. That was an honorable mention, right? Because that guy didn't make it to the top 8.
I think so, yeah.
So, yeah. That's kind of interesting. Of course, to get Creator, you have to buy a lot of packs, so I don't think a lot of people would be trying that out. But it looks like a kind of cool deck. I wish I could try it. And there is one Hazy Flame deck in here as well. it gets around some of my issues by running Super Rush Headlong, which is just a good card and also gets around some stuff. And it has the third Heavy Knight, which I only have 2. But other than that, the deck has some strengths. I don't think that this is an ideal list. But anyway, that's enough on that.
Cool. We're going to talk about the main event that's been going on this week, and it's going to be going on for all of next week too. It's set sail for the Kingdom Duelist Chronicles. This is basically the event that it's fan service to people who love the story. So it's mostly the story of them, the main characters, going to Pegasus's island to save Grandpa and Kaiba to save Mokuba. And it plays a lot differently. It's dueling, but some have described it as Monopoly and Mario Party. So you're basically moving on a board. You're collecting dice, first of all, by dueling. That's kind of the event piece. And it's a lot fewer than you had before, so you pick up 4 max, I think, like 2 to 4 dice for dueling. And you can also pick up in PvP, so you get 2. When you're on the board, you roll a die, and it's kind of weird as a die, and you don't get to use 4, 5, and 6. You get like 1 to 3. And you, depending on what you land, you do a certain thing. So there are certain event missions that are required. There's the Vagabond Standard Duelist story missions, rewards, and dice. You could get extra dice too. And also things like move 2 spaces forward or move 1 space back. So it's kind of like Monopoly. You also pick up a new resource called Millennium Coins, and you use these to roll a lottery. And lottery, you can either do them singly, or you could buy a set of 10. So a set of 10 would be 300 coins, and you get rewards like cards and all the resources. Keys, gems, stuff like that.
No, I'm pretty sure you only get keys. I've only ever gotten keys.
I got 10 gems last night, I think. That was a golden one, yeah.
Yeah, I've gotten a few things, but it's pretty much mostly keys.
That kind of sucks. And you earn zone rewards, so there's 5 zones per round. So once you finish 5 zones, you get to do the whole thing over again. And I think you have to complete 4 complete rounds to get all the rewards, and then after that, they give you like 5,000 gold or something stupid like that. But completing the first round would give you Yugimoto as an unlockable LD, so make sure you at least complete 1. You should complete 4, but at least do 1 to get the character. We have the whole mega thread there if you want to read more into detail. You should probably know what it is if you've played the game, but if you haven't played the game yet or want to get into the event, it's all there, all the information. And speaking of the lottery, the cards you get, it's kind of fan service again. They're cards that show up a lot in the first season of Yu-Gi-Oh! They're really weak cards, and they're just there for nostalgia purposes. That's all I could say. But there are 5 SRs you can get. Estimating it, I'd say you get like 1 SR every 40 rolls. Like every 4 times 10, maybe? Something like that, yeah.
That might be right. I mean, I have not yet done 80. I think I've done like 70 rolls, and I've gotten 1 SR, so...
Might be lower than that. Might be like 1 out of 5. Like 5, 10 pack. Like 1 out of 50 or something.
Yeah, maybe.
So have you gotten any of the new rewards?
I did. I mean, I've gotten a few for going through it a couple times. I think I have a couple Kuribos now.
Oh, yeah.
And I flipped open the Toon Barrel Dragon.
Right.
People pointed out Toon Barrel Dragon is like weirdly different than regular Barrel Dragon.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. First of all, it can target spells and traps, and it can also attack it has to wait a turn like like most other tunes.
Yeah.
But it can attack without you having the Toon Kingdom or Toon whatever the other one's called up on the field. So you can play it even without playing a Toon deck.
Is that meant to happen?
I assume so, but it is weird. I think it's weird that all the tunes have, well, not all of them, but that they have like different rules within the various tunes. If I were designing it, I would have all the tunes be tunes and have tunes all act in one way, and then have them, it just makes it less confusing. But
they were just introduced at different times, I think. That's why this always happens.
I suppose so.
Another award you can get is the regular Karibo. He's been showing up in the packs all the time as Exploding Karibo or something, but it's the first time you can actually get him. And I'd say it's worse than the regular one. It just negates the damage you take, but your monster still gets destroyed if you get attacked. But there is a combo you could use with other cards like Multiply and Detonate, and you could help clear the board. It's a bit too gimmicky, right? But I saw some people on Reddit posting about it.
Yeah, I don't think that it would be, like you said, I think it's worse than Spirit Kuribo. I think there's a limited situation which is better for some monsters. You'd rather have them stay in attack mode, attack position. But that's like like you said, you'd rather save your monster almost all of the time than do that. And also most monsters that see play have higher attack than defense, so it's better to put them in defense mode. So it's a very limited situation in which it's better than Spirit Kuribo, but it still might be good enough to just play if you don't have Spirit Kuribos. So, that's nice.
Yep. Toon Barrel Dragon we just talked about. Do you think the 2 tributes is a big deal or no? Or is the special effect of staying on the board better?
I think that the 2 tribute tunes do not really see play because it's, even when you're special summoning things, it's a little hard to get it out. And tunes kind of play on this razor wire where you are running out of life and or cards, and you're just trying to rush down your opponent faster than they can you. So I don't think that it will see play in Toon decks. They're pretty tight as it is. And I did see the person who was commenting on how it operates differently than other tunes, though, was talking about putting it into his 3-star demotion deck, because you can now run 6 barrel dragons with slightly different effects between the 2 of them. So, there's some room to play with it. Like I said, it's interesting that it gets spells and traps as well. That's always nice if you're able to clear those things, because sometimes you can just attack through monsters with a 2600 attacker. So the wait in a turn means it's probably not going to see, regular Barrel Dragon doesn't see much play outside of that time and before the 3-star demotion nerf. I think the guy who commented on it on Reddit had a good idea, but I don't think the idea is going to become like a meta deck or anything like that.
Right. And you could also get Union Attack. So this is a bit of a way of Konami making amends. They're giving back really good cards that you can get prior from roaming Duelist farming. So there were people who were left without Union Attack, or they joined the game late or something. Now you can actually get Union Attack, so.
Yeah. Kidmodo too, right? Not
Kidmodo.
that too much.
That's from that's from the season rewards, right?
Oh, season rewards. Okay, my bad, yeah.
Yeah. The same thing of them listening to us and giving us good cards again.
Yeah.
Alright, let's talk about the good and the bad of the event. Good. No farming and ease of play.
Yeah, I think it's just... I don't think they like us farming. We've seen them making it a little bit hard for us to do so. We've heard rumors that they lower drop rates and stuff like that. No idea if that's true, but I assume they don't like us farming. They've indicated they don't like us farming. But when they have these events where the legendary duelists will have to drop the stuff, and especially if it's a roaming legendary duelist, so you have limited chances to have them drop it, then it just feels bad to not farm. You want to maximize your chances. And so by creating this new system where it does not encourage you to farm, we're kind of all, all of our motivations are aligned better this way. And they're not kind of making us do a thing they don't want us to do. And also, farming can be kind of tedious and boring. It's not playing the game in the fun way that the game is meant to be played. As the name would imply, it's doing work so that you can get a reward. And so I kind of like that they're doing it this way. The ease to play aspect is that for the most part, the duels are pretty easy. There's a couple that are a little bit tricky, especially if you're trying to get all of the extra rewards. Yeah, the extra coins for doing the missions. But for the most part, they're all pretty easy.
Yeah, you just make like a change to your deck. Like for the last Pegasus, you just put like Divine Wrath or Ultimate Providence, and then you win the game pretty much with whatever deck you're using. And you mentioned there's no game-breaking cards. But the rewards we mentioned aren't too good. Yeah,
you can see this as both a positive and a negative, and I kind of actually threw it into both. Yeah. But they're not giving us any really good cards. And the positive side of that is that you aren't forced to do this event to get anything that is going to shape the meta. You don't feel like you have to rush through the event to get these cards that will shape the meta. Some would say that giving like a really powerful card, like when they gave us Relinquished, is kind of the classic example, is a little bit of a lazy design where you want to shake up the meta. So what you do is you give them one broken card from this event. And so there's a couple ways in which not giving us any broken cards from the event is a positive. I would have liked it if they gave us fewer bad cards. If instead they gave us maybe gems, would be my preference. But there's benefits to them also not giving us just broken cards.
Yeah, we need 10 Celtic Guardians and Mammoth Graveyards for things. To fuse with living arrows.
I have so many of that one clown that.
Oh, Yasaki.
Yeah.
That's the last card Kaiba played before he loses his soul. He just plays it for no reason.
Yeah, I always thought it was weird that he played it because it was so much worse than like anything else in his deck.
No, he plays it because he has to multiply the 600 attack with a negative energy card in his first duel of Yugi.
Right.
He makes it 1800, and now it's unstoppable. It destroys everything as a destruction montage. That's how good it was. Yep. Okay, let's talk about that. There was a really big deal where people were saying, "Oh, if you land on a friend space, you get extra coins," and this was believed to be the case for the longest time. But we found that about 2 to 3 days later, you get extra dice pieces instead of the coins. I wonder why it took so long to talk about that issue.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's just Reddit being silly because I never even thought that it was giving us coins. Like I
never landed on any spaces.
I landed on a friend space and I got some dice. I was like, cool. Oh. I guess we get dice for landing on a friend space.
Yeah, yeah.
But there were a couple other issues as well.
Yeah. It's been fairly time consuming, right? I'd say collecting. Well, you duel people all the time, so I don't know if you feel this way, but I feel like collecting the dice is a bit of a chore.
I kind of actually feel the opposite because, like you said, I do a lot of auto dueling kind of just throughout the day. So I get all the dice, but it's harder for me to use them, and it takes longer for me to use them than it would like a gate event where I'm using 40 at a time and I can just queue it up, queue it up, queue it up. This one I have to roll the dice, which has a little animation, and then there's a little conversation that I have to skip through, and then there's the battle, and sometimes in the battle you need to have like a slightly different deck or a special deck, and oh, God forbid that you have to switch characters to get to that other deck that you want to use, because that then you have to like go through it all again for some reason. So I think that there's a little bit of clunkiness there, which probably for like the average player is nothing, and then for people like me who are just trying to grind it out, first of all, they don't care if we're slightly annoyed because they're trying to slow us down with this type of event, but second of all, they're just like, suck it up. I'm pretty sure that they don't care if we're complaining that we're slightly annoyed that we have to spend a half second longer going through stuff. But I would have liked it if it were all just a little bit cleaner and tighter in that sense.
And let's talk about another thing that you didn't mention. There are certain scenes that are censored, or they don't tell you everything that happens. And if you never watched the show, you'll be so lost. Right?
Yeah. I accidentally skipped the last scene. I mean, I remember what happened, but I could just I quickly, because I thought it was going to be the same ones that I'd already seen. And so I'm like watching it quickly go through all the stuff, and then it's like, oh, everyone's friends now, and they're all celebrating. Like, oh, okay, I guess something happened. Oops. But I guess like you said, I don't remember it super well, but I remember it well enough to generally know what happened. So I guess I wasn't lost from all of it. But if I hadn't watched the show, maybe I would have been. Yeah.
Oh, so that's the event. Are you done with all 4 rounds?
I don't know. Let's see.
I'm almost done with the 3rd one.
How do you check? It's in the rewards. It'll tell you how far along you are. Yeah. No, I'm not done yet. And I've done 2 and a little bit rounds.
Yeah. Yep. So.
And it goes through round 5.
Oh, 5? Okay.
At the end of 4 is your last card reward, which is a Toon Barrel Dragon. And then at the end, throughout 5, you get kind of gems, and various things, jewels, orbs, and stuff. And then after 5 is when you only get gold, and it's only for going through the final zone. So after 5, you might as well probably just stop.
Yeah. So we still have a bit to do for this event, but it goes till the 11th, so there's still 9 more days to do it. So plenty of time. Alright, let's talk new cards. There's a new set out this week called Echoes of Silence, and we're going to talk about some of the cards. First of all is the Silent Magician package, and not all of these cards have to be in the deck. I'll talk about that, but Silent Magician level 8, Silent Magician level 4, Alchemist of Black Spells, Spell Power Grasp, Level Up, Level Modulation. I think I'm not sure if this is the ideal deck, but they meant for you to have all these cards in the same deck. And basically, it's going to be a new archetype, I think, just from the power level we've seen of it so far. And it's the reason why you would buy the set multiple times. The set has a lot of useful cards, but if you don't want to play Silent Magician, you could just buy it for the cards you want. Silent Magician level 8 has 3,500 attack and it's immune to spells. And it's like a ramp deck, right? You can get the Silent Magician level 4, play level up, and then you have Silent Magician level 8 right away.
Yeah.
It's notable that you could still use Super Rush Headlong and Traps, but things that specifically target it wouldn't work.
Right.
Yeah. And the version I played does not have Alchemist of Black Spells, Spell Power Grasp, or Level Modulation. It just has the regular ones, the 2 Silent Magicians, Level Up. Level Up's the key card. I ran a Silent Burning, but then I took it out. And the card I was mentioning that you need 3 of from Electric Overload is the Herald of Creation. And this is an 1800 attack monster, which lets you bring a level of 7 or higher monster back from the graveyard. So, Silent Magician level 8 is higher than 7, so...
you might say he's 8.
He's 8, yeah. Not level 7. It's a 7-star or higher, so...
But I think
she's 8-star, yeah.
I think the levels match the stars. Anyway, I think you're right. I think you play it as just Silent Magician level 4, level up Silent Magician level 8. And
that's the game.
level 8 is super strong for all those reasons you just said. So obviously you can normal summon level 4 and then level up them that turn. Level up pulls from the hand or deck.
Yep.
So you don't need to wait for it to get in your hand, and there's no waiting like a turn to attack or anything. You just play it and you can go face on that turn. So I think it's super powerful, and you probably want to run 2 maybe, but I don't think you have to. I think you can just run 1. I mean, you were just talking about how you ran 1, but you had something to get it back. Yeah. I think you might be able to just play a deck with just 1, but maybe if you're devoting 7 slots, you might as well devote 8 and have another option. So I'm not sure if you need to buy the set through twice to get what you need for it. I think you might be able to do it with just once, but I'm still waiting on my level 8, so I haven't been able to test that theory yet.
And of course, I have the card from Electric Overload, so I don't know if you can do it without that card. Like, if you can just have 1 and it dies and that's the game. Like, you can't get it back.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably have other decent stuff in the deck as well. I think you can either do it like as a combo deck where it's all designed around getting it out as fast as possible, or you can just play it as good cards. The Silent Magician level 4 is pretty decent. Like, it's a solid card on its own. It's not going to break the game, or define it. If it weren't for level 8, you wouldn't play level 4. But level 4 is fine to play on its own.
In like a Power of the Dark deck or something.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably do Restart so that I have the maximum chances of getting to level 4 and the level up, or maybe Balance for the same reason. But it's, I think you could still play other good cards as well. You don't have to go all in on this combo.
I forgot to mention my version, or the version I copied from Decade, has Dark Flare. Mm-hmm. Because you run...
That makes sense.
He has 3 Karibo's, I only have 1, so I put some other junk in there, but they're light monsters. All the Silent Magicians and the Herald of Creation are both light monsters. And then you put a few dark monsters, and then you get Dark Flare, so that's pretty good. Alright.
Cool.
We're talking about Vortex Trooper. It has 0 attack, but once you summon it, you get to draw 2 cards, and then when it gets destroyed, you draw another card. Do you think this card has... Like, they talk about there's a combo where you could give it to your opponent and you destroy it. Do you think that's worth doing, or do you think it's just like a... Like, it's not worth running those cards, right? If your goal is to draw cards.
Yeah, I don't think that that's the best play. That is a little bit of a convoluted way of dealing damage to your opponent when you can instead just maybe destroy their monster and attack directly. But it does let you, by its effect, it lets you filter your deck so that you have a better chance of getting to your combo. So that's a fun gimmick that kind of fuels itself. But I do think it's still a gimmick that I don't think is the strongest play.
But otherwise, not disregarding the gimmick, this card's really good for just drawing cards and farming, right?
Yeah, I think it's a decent card. Leaving 0 attack up is always pretty risky. You might want to have like a defender of some sort, like some Kuribos or Windstorm or something to protect it so you don't take all that face damage. Or you might just be willing to tank 1 attack because that's usually only going to be like max half of your life points, so you think you can do it. but I do think that it's a really good card for that. Maybe it's good enough for the Exodia decks that are trying to, get through their decks. So there's some, there's something there.
Yep. All right, we're going to talk about the best card ever now, and this is Green Kappa. This card wouldn't have been... This card's been around forever, and it's been in the Legacy of... No, the Power of Chaos trilogy I played, and I had this card too. I never made a big deal about it until Twitch came along, It's just... Green Kappa. Anyways, it's a flip effect, and it destroys two set spells or traps. So it must destroy 2 cards. That's its stipulation.
Right. I don't know what happens. Do you know what happens if you target 2 and then they respond by activating 1? Does it fizzle, or does it kill the 1?
I feel like you can't counter it, right? It's a flip effect, right?
No, I don't think you can. Oh, I see. You can't activate a card in response to a flip effect?
That's a good question. Has there ever been a card like this so far that destroys a spell and a flip effect? I feel like there hasn't been.
Probably, but I can't think of any. I don't know. This would be very easy to test.
Oh, so there are things like Twin Barrel Dragon. That's not a flip effect, though.
No.
It's a little slower,
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. We don't have the answer for you. And just to clarify, for those who aren't initiated, Kappa is a Twitch emote, and so he's...
It's the face. It's like a gray face. You've probably seen that before, yeah.
The Kappa face. So he's in love with Green Kappa for its name.
Yeah, I pretty much replaced it with... I use it outside of the sarcasm things. I just put it in the end of the sentence, so... Yeah. Let me see if... I'm trying to figure this thing out. Nope, the page doesn't say counter. Okay, so I have no idea. So we don't know if you can activate something in response to Green Kappa. But let's think about it. Like, are you thinking about a trap card like Mirror Wall or something? Or, like, Enemy Controller?
Well, yeah, Enemy Controller would be a better example. I'm thinking of a card that when it activates, it has its effect that could resolve prior to the flip effect resolving. And then the question is, at that point, are there still 2 targets for the flip effect, or is there just 1? And if there's just 1, what happens?
Yeah. No one's talking about it on Reddit, so we won't know. You have the card, though, right? So maybe you could find out.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I'll report back.
Yeah. Another card that's pretty good is Emergency Provisions, and this is a quick play spell. Basically, you quick play it, and you could destroy as many spells and traps you control, and then you could gain 1,000 life points for each one. I'd say this is better than Storm, right? In most cases.
Well, I mean, it depends on what you want to do. So, because Storm obviously clears their stuff, and this doesn't clear their stuff. So, if you're trying to destroy spells and traps, then it's worse than Storm, obviously. But but it is better if you're just trying to destroy your own stuff, which sometimes you are, especially in like maybe farming, or there's some cards that have effects from destroying your own stuff. But this is actually an important distinction. It says send, not destroy. So it is. It doesn't activate things like Wild Tornado. It activates things like Big Bang Shot that say when this leaves the field or something like that. So I think it's probably not quite as strong in that sense. We already have Harpy's Feather, or what's it called? Griffin. Yeah, Harpy's Feather Duster is the OP one. Yeah. Griffin Feather Duster, which is similar. I think it heals like 700 instead of 1,000 or something like that. And that one sees no play. So one reason why this is different is that it has more life and it's a quick play, so you can always just activate a card and then activate this while that card's activation's on the stack, like an enemy controller or whatever. And as we were just talking about with Green Kappa, destroying it doesn't negate it. So you still get your effect, and it's essentially just at least one card gain 1,000 life, which sees some play in some decks. So in that sense, it's kind of like free life. You can just activate one or two of your other cards and then activate this and gain 1,000 or 2,000 life. And, that might be worth playing just there in a specific deck. But I don't think this is like something that you would just generally play.
And I like how emergency provisions is crackers. That's like their...
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, there's 2 spells that add 400 attack and minus 200 defense, depending on attribute. It's Umiruka, which is the water one, and then Rising Air Current for wind. Currently, there are... I think all the other ones are out, right? All the other attributes fields? Mystic Plasma's one's not out. There's Luminous Spark. There's the fire one. What's the other attribute?
Water, wind...
Earth.
Earth.
The Earth one's not out, right? Anyways.
I don't think so.
Just because we don't know what they are, we don't see them, right?
Yeah, exactly. The moral of the story is that none of them works. Okay, so I looked up Green Kappa, by the way.
Okay.
According to the official rules, if one of the targets is chained to the card's effect, then the other target is still destroyed.
Okay, so it still destroys it.
If they only have one face-down card when Green Kappa is activated, so not you activating in response, but you only have one down, then nothing happens.
Okay.
The effect doesn't go off. I assume that if you have one and your opponent has one, then you need to destroy your own as well. But that's not on this little list of interactions.
Okay.
So, there you go.
Where do you get the rules for Green Kappa?
It's in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Wiki, card ruling Green Kappa. I Googled it, but...
I just completely skipped over card rulings. That's where all the rules are. I just skipped right over it. Alright. Limit Reverse. It's a really weak effect. It basically gets to special summon a 1,000 attack monster from the graveyard in attack mode. And once its mode is switched, its position is switched, it gets destroyed. Once this card gets destroyed, that card gets destroyed. So, it's not that useful, right?
No, I don't think so. You had thought of Kid Moto maybe being something cool, and Doom Dog. Yeah. Those are good options. Anything that you want to die, so that you can get the effect again, seems like it might be something you'd want to do. Obviously, we saw, well, maybe not obviously if you guys haven't gotten there yet, but we saw it in the new sets, dual school, like, quizzes things.
Yeah.
So you can use it to get back the Silent Magician level 4, and then use a level up or something on her to get the level 8 one. So there's a few uses, but it would only see play in like a very specialized deck that is trying to use one of those uses, and I don't think it would be very strong in that deck either. I think you'd rather just run something else.
And you already have Time Machine from Bandit Keith. It's much better. Yeah,
that's true. So, yeah, for the Magician, the Time Machine might be better. You also have a couple other Reanimator effects as well that can affect maybe better than this one. So, like you said, I don't think it's very good.
Nope. And of course I have one already, so...
Yeah.
Alright, let's talk about some of the rares. Gemini Lancer, 1,800 attack, and if you use the Gemini ability, it has piercing. Yeah.
Yeah, and the important part is that it's a water, because that's where you got the 2000 is if you have the mythic depth and the Yumi on the field. 2000 attacker with possibly uh, piercing. Mako has a lot of good tools,
Yeah.
so I'm not sure if this would end up seeing play, but it's definitely a good option to consider because it's just a strong guy with a decent effect.
Yeah, no, and you could bring in Gemini effects, but there isn't like another Gemini water monster right now. It's worth running, I think, to make it all work. But it's just a good card to have so far. Uh, Deep Diver. This is a bit of a monster tutor version of Cat of Ill Omen, so you get to pick a monster and put it on the top of your deck. Pretty good card.
Yeah, yeah, except that it's when the deep diver dies instead of the Cataville Omen's a flip effect, I think. So it's slightly weaker in that sense, but you might want dragons, or sorry, you might want monsters better than you want traps. A couple examples included, I saw people talking about playing this in Exodia decks, which seems cool. You can search out the head, which is kind of the one that always gives you trouble. And I
It's a
also
spellcaster, right?
the divers.
The
Oh,
head.
oh no, the head is
Yeah, okay.
Does
They all
that
are. No,
matter?
never mind.
Yeah. Does that matter? Does deep diver need you to get a? Did I miss something on it?
No, I don't know why you mentioned the head instead of the other body parts.
Oh, because the other ones you can get more easily through certain effects like the whatever we called it last week, the blue dragon summoner guy,
Yeah, yeah.
and the fiend jester. They both allow you to get normal spellcasters.
Oh, he's not normal. Yeah.
Yeah, he's an effect monster.
Okay,
That's why
got it.
that's special.
Okay, got it.
It also, I have the deep diver in my Frost Flame Dragon deck. I ended up getting two of the Frost and Flame Dragons. Buzzer beater, by the way. The very last, I got them both on the last day, and I got the second one on my very last farm. So that was exciting. But with only two, I think that every once in a while I like to use the deep diver to find my Frost and Flame when I'm trying to go off with it. And also, the deck has like a couple just tech cards in it, and it helps that I can kind of use it as a toolkit type thing. So there's some interesting uses. I don't know if it will end up making the cut. Neither Exodia nor Frost and Flame is really like shaping the meta, at least where I am seeing it substantially. So maybe this guy doesn't end up seeing play, but it's definitely a good tool to always be aware of whenever you're thinking of tutor effects. Or whenever you see tutor effects, you should be mindful of them because they're generally very powerful, and they tend to, at some point in the game, see some play and maybe get broken.
Yep. United Front, counter trap. Whenever a trap is activated... Wait, is this the right one? When a trap card is activated and you control
No,
two...
sorry. It's the unified front. There's United Front and there's Unified Front. Yeah.
You're kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. Okay. Yeah, this is the one that looks like it. It's a regular trap card. Discard one monster and target one face-up monster on the field. Its attack and defense become the discarded monster's attack and defense until the end of the turn. Monsters you control cannot attack directly during the turn you activate this card.
There we go. Found what we need to find. So, I like this card because it's both a buff and a debuff, which is pretty cool. That is to say, you can use it on your guys to obviously make them bigger, or you can use them on your opponent's guys to make them smaller, either when they're attacking into you or when you are attacking over them. So there's some cool, interesting interactions there. You had mentioned that there's some cool activations for graveyard effects.
Right.
You have the Phoenix here, but I'm not sure if that's actually true. Does it say destroy? Phoenix is weird because you have to destroy the Phoenix, and not all cards that send things to graveyards count as destroy.
So this is discard. Yeah.
Yeah, so that one does not count
Okay.
because of because I've been playing a little bit more Phoenix, trying to make it work in some stuff, and it's a little bit weird. Discarding does not count as destroying.
So Kidmodo. No, you don't want to discard a Kidmodo. No attack.
Well, you could use Kidmodo to weaken their. I mean, it would just be
yeah. They have like 100 attack. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can use it like if they're attacking to one of your things maybe, or just to protect yourself, and to kind of set up some tempo. I don't know. There's some decent effects, and there's both that activate on discarding and that just want things to be in your graveyard. So I think there's definitely, it's an interesting card that might see some play.
Speaking of cards that see play, Slushy. It's when this card is normal summoned, you can spend 1 Slushy from your deck to your graveyard. If you have 3 copies of Slushy total, either banished or in your graveyard, combined, you can banish them and banish them from your graveyard to target 1 level 5 or higher Sea Serpent in your graveyard. Special summon that target. You can use the special summoning effect of Slushy once per turn.
Yeah, so this card's interesting. It has a very niche and narrow effect, but I always loved Reanimator cards, and this was another one that was kind of in the dual school training things with the Spiral Serpent.
Yep.
So I actually saw on Reddit a Turbo Spiral Serpent deck that probably isn't going to be tier 1, but I loved it.
I thought it was only for Daedalus.
It ran Screech, our friend Screech, to put the slushies into the graveyard, and then and the serpent, and then you have a 2900 attack beater, and it's similar to Blue Eyes in that you can use Champion's Vigilance and stuff. But it's cool, but you might as well just run Blue Eyes and have Kappa Man and stuff, it seems. So I don't know if activating graveyard effects is... I mean, it gives you a little bit of, I guess, resilience in that you have the multiple slushies to bring back the Spiral Serpent a few times, or to bring back more than one. But I don't think that that's going to be the next move in Duel Links.
I'm looking at the trivia for Spiral Serpent, and this card and Ocean Dragon Lord Neo Daedalus are tied for having the highest attack of any Sea Serpent monster. But this one has the highest defense of all Sea Serpents.
Wow. There you go. Yeah, the Daedalus is obviously better in that it can clear the board and stuff. But the Spiral Serpent lets you run the Champion's Vigilance. So there's benefits to both.
Yep. And it's a normal monster, so you can do whatever you want with those normal effects, maybe.
Yeah, there's some effects there. I noted, whenever you're talking about putting water or fire or wind or earth things into the graveyard, even fire now with the hazy, there's always some card that has interactions with it. So whenever I'm building a deck that wants me to put water monsters into my graveyard, one of my thoughts is, well, does Frost and Flame work in here? Yeah. It might. It needs 2 water and 1 fire, so it's easier to squeeze it into a water deck than a fire deck. So that's another thing that might work.
Finally, Dark Blade and Gagagio. Dark Blade to 1800 attack, Dark Warrior. Gagagio's an 1850 reptile. They're both beaters with different abilities. Gagagio is pretty much power creep over the Blazing Enpachi, except it's a different type and attribute. But they're pretty useful. I've seen Dark Blade in some Necrofear decks. Being a warrior, I don't know what effect you could use. There's a lot of warrior cards that came out not that long ago.
Yeah. And Gagagio, of course, is water type. It's kind of important.
Yeah.
So it can get the boosts from Yumi and stuff.
Yeah.
basically OP.
It's a new frontline beater. It's rare. Yeah, that's normal, right? Or
Yeah.
is it rare? Yeah,
I
it's
don't
rare.
remember.
Rare. It's rare. Yeah, I think. All
But
right.
anyway, it's just a strong attacker that you can just play. Um, Pretty much anyone who buys through any moderate portion of the new set will get a couple, and it's just really solid.
Yep. So overall, the
Yeah,
set's decent, right? I'd say.
yeah. I think there's a couple cards like yugioh and like the Dark Blade that are just really solid for people who have limited collections. There's a couple cards that have very specific usages, but which are pretty solid for them. And it's a small box, so it's only 80 packs. And I think, like we were talking about, one of the best things about this set to me is that you can play it, like you can build almost anything that this deck or that this set wants you to build, having only bought through the set once or twice, because the super rares, I mean, maybe emergency provisions. If you're building a deck around it, you want another one. Definitely spell power grasp. If you are building a deck around that, you want 3. That's kind of like the exception to what I'm saying. But for the most part, you can do almost anything that this set is encouraging by buying it through only once, which made me really happy. By the spell or silent magician tutoring out the silent magician level 8, it means you can build a silent magician deck with only one and just find it. And so that means that you can buy this set through one time and be able to at least play at a moderate level anything that this set encourages. Aside from spell power grasp, the super rares, the other super rares and ultra rares don't require you to have multiples either. So that's what really got me excited about the set. There's some solid rares and neutrals and some interesting stuff going on, but also they've designed it and built it so that you only need to buy it through once or maybe once and a half to get 2 silent magicians before you can really play with everything in the set. So it's kind of a budget set in that sense, both because of the powerful stuff on the low end, and also because the way that the overall set design and the cards chosen for it don't require you to buy it through multiple times.
Yep, we like this set a lot. All right, so that's enough of that. We're gonna talk about the new ranked season now. It kicked off the day before, and we were sent 2 tiers below, I think, or I'm not sure exactly how far we were sent, but we were sent more than we should have, and we only got 50 gems for it. Yeah.
It was the way they measure it, I guess, is they said it was 10 ranks, I guess. So, and that's 2 tiers. I think every tier it counts as 5, right? Anyway,
yeah. Except for Legend.
10 spaces below then.
So Legend, you only have 3, right?
Maybe. I didn't notice. If I was that close to King of Games last month, I should have tried for it. Oops.
I think so, right? Legend is only 3. Yeah. Because that used to be the one for Platinum, and then they made Platinum 5.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yes, you're 1 off.
Whoops.
Yeah. Oh well. It's important to know that you can't redeem your card rewards, the new card rewards from your past season tickets. So, you can't get the Red Eyes Insight now.
Yes.
Yes. And again, Konami's trying to make amends by giving out some of the rewards from past Legendary Duelist farming RNG. And these include Red Eyes Insight, Red Eyes Spirit, Reign of Mercy, Kenmoto Dragon, and if you wanted them, Lava Dragon, and Dangerous Machine Type 6.
You don't want them, friends. You don't want those
the last 2, yeah. I don't know how anyone would want a Lava Dragon. You'd get, so many of those.
Your you missed one because it was on the next page on our show notes. The Neo Parseth is back as well. Or sorry, is a new one.
That was never offered. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's a new one. Okay, I see. That's a different intro. My bad.
Yeah. So now we got two other cards that are new, and the first one is Neo Parseth, the Sky Paladin. 2300 attack, 7 stars. You can special summon this card by tributing 1 Air Knight Parseth. If this card attacks a defense monster, inflict piercing. When this card does battle damage to your opponent, draw a card. While Sanctuary in the Sky is on the field, and your life points are higher than your opponent's, this card gains attack and defense equal to the difference in life points.
Yeah, you guys know that I like Air Knight Parseth probably more than the general Duel Links community does. But I don't think that this guy is particularly worth it. It's a lot of setup to make him like really good, and I think that either way, it's still the original, and this one is too weak and too slow in the current meta, in which you're going to be seeing a lot of 2400 attack guys being put out for free. So you would need it to have all of the setup for it to even be playable in this current meta, and I don't think it's worth it in that sense.
Another card, which is just an N, I believe, is Hashiningen, and it's a card that gives all light monsters 500 attack and minus 400 defense, I believe. It's like Starboy, but it's a water type. I mean, it's a light type.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh, no, wait. It increases the attack of all light monsters by 500, and it decreases the attack of dark monsters by 400. Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
All right.
That's cool.
That's a decent end to get, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a nice one to pull. You might want it. It doesn't have the free summon mechanic like the water like Starboy has, because Starboy is only good because you can get it out for free with Hammer Shark. Otherwise, it's too weak, like on its own, to really see play. It never saw play before Hammer Shark, but I don't know. There might be ways that you can cheat out the light version as well, or it might just come in time. There's not that many great end options anyway, especially since you already have infinite copies of the ones that they get from standard Duelist drops and stuff. So it's definitely something I'm going to be picking up.
I think there's a card that special summons fairies, right? Like the court or something.
Yeah, that sounds familiar, yeah.
Yeah, it's a continuous spell.
There you go. You've already broken the meta. Look at you.
Yep. All right. We're going to talk about some events that are coming up pretty quickly. These were mentioned in the beginning of the month, so these will be coming this month and also some of next month. There's going to be a new special legendary duelist, and this is kind of like the Super Joey Elegant Mai thing, but we think it's going to be Rex Raptor because he says he's going to be trampling people, so pretty sure it's Rex Raptor. Thanks to some data mines, we kind of know what kind of cards he's going to give us. At least one. We might get one of these right. We have Carbonedin, which is a card that it has a lot of abilities. It could gain attack when attacking a fire monster, but its most notable ability is when it's in the graveyard, you can special summon a level 7 or higher or lower, level 7 or lower dragon onto the field, and that's probably Red Eyes. But there's already Red Eyes Spirit, so it's kind of like a fourth Red Eyes Spirit, I guess. That's kind of what it does. Dark Triceratops is a 2400 attack monster with piercing damage, with just 1 tribute, so that's another card. Mm-hmm. And Tyranno Infinity, which it gains 1000 attack for each banished dinosaur. What do you think about these cards?
The Carbonedin seems like it might actually be something he uses against us, because you know that he liked the the red eyes. He spent all his allowance money on it. um, so like it would kind of be on theme for him to be running both. But maybe we get it as well. The Dark Triceratops is good, but it seems like it might not be good enough. I mean, like you mentioned, dinos aren't really meta anymore, but maybe a slightly different type of dinos comes out with 2400 attack, and you have the Dino Kingdom. It can stand up to Red Eyes, even win against Red Eyes sometimes, as long as they don't have multiples and beatdown or something like that. So this puts it in contention, and it might be actually good enough to play, but it's definitely a different type of dinos than was previously used, because in the past it would almost entirely be 4-star monsters. And so I could see this being something a little interesting, but like I said, it's a little bit different, so it's hard to conceive exactly how that list would look. Would it just be playing like normal Yu-Gi-Oh, where you're summoning guys, and then the next turn you're tributing? Because that seems like that's a little bit too slow. If you're not cheating out things somehow, you're not going to keep up in this meta. So
dinosaurs have a way of doing that, right? Like some kind of egg. I feel like, or evolution pill, or some big evolution pill.
Right. Yeah, they have a couple things that let them do that. I think the big evolution pill is a good example. So maybe that's how they do it. I'm not sure. But that card hasn't seen any play yet either. So the question is, was that card waiting for this card, or is it just not good enough? And then the last one, the Tyranno Infinity, I don't see how
it's kind of like the Chaos Necromancer. It's kind of like
It seems like the dinos don't really do much stuff that's removing things from the graveyard, or that's banishing things. So I don't think this one's gonna see much play.
And it has 0 defense, so you could just like flip it, kill with anything. So, yep. But these are just cards we saw in the data mine, and he could just have some other dinosaur. But maybe we have one of these. I think the Dark Triceratops is a card. It seems like a card that they would want people to include and try to make good. It seems like that kind of card. Yeah. All right, so that event is coming up this month. It's probably right after this event ends, so it's going to be the next thing up. After that is the Mysterious Tower event. And there's not much said about this, except you get to face new enemies. New enemies lurk inside. And there's 2 possibilities this could be, based on storylines, and we're still in the regular Yu-Gi-Oh world. Regular Yu-Gi-Oh, I mean the first 5 seasons of the show. Alcatraz, which is the virtual reality arc, where Kaiba's stepbrother Noah, the Big Five, and Gozaburo Kaiba. This arc featured Dungeon Master duels. Do you know what that is? I know you stopped watching this show.
Yeah, I don't. It sounds kind of familiar, but no, I'm not.
It's like they have a dark magician is going to come out of his deck, and he's going to have a special field effect or something. Or you could use his ability once in the game, but he can't. And if you put him in the field, he dies, you lose the duel or something. So it's like an extra guy who's your like Joey used Flame Swordsman or something. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. That sounds familiar. I must have caught an episode or saw a highlight or something of that, because that sounds totally familiar.
Right. And another thing it could be is Darts and the Orichalcos. They kind of had like a lair, but there's a lot of weird stuff going on that season, and it couldn't really go in as cards. Like Valen, for example, all his cards were armor, so he basically became like Superman, or not Superman. What's the like a Tron? Yeah, like a Tron. Like the pieces all fit on his body or something, and you can't make that as a card, so it seems kind of weird. And Seal of Orichalcos would be OP, so I don't know. That event's coming up, whatever that is. And then finally the last thing, there's another event. let's talk about the October event first, because that's less of a big deal. In
Okay.
October, Bones is most likely going to come. This is kind of like a Halloween theme thing, and we've heard a lot of suggestions about it. But Bones is probably going to be I'd say he's probably going to be a roaming duelist. I don't think we can use him. Maybe we can, but he's probably going to give us Call of the Haunted, which is Reanimator card, and also other zombie cards.
Yeah. Bones, of course, this is actually a little bit of the lore that I know because this is from the season that I watched. He was one of Bandit Keith's little crony friend guys, right?
Yeah, he was the one who dueled.
Yeah. So I remember, his face looks like a skull. He was one of the cool baddies, I guess. I don't know. I think he was only in like that one duel. I think he's probably had cameos in other episodes, but I don't remember him being important outside of that episode. So
He got killed by Bakura later on.
got killed by a core. Okay.
Bakura took all his locator cards at once.
So okay, not like actually killed, not Bandit
he,
Keith.
he sent him to the Shadow Realm though.
Gotcha.
I don't think he
Okay.
ever came back, so he might have killed him. Yeah.
Okay, he's gone forever. Well, anyway, all of that was to say that he's not a like major character, so it makes sense for him to kind of be a temporary, maybe roaming duelist or maybe special type of event where you go to the graveyard or something for some special Halloween event.
Yeah. I'd say he's on the same level as the Paradox Brothers, so we don't know.
I mean, that's a good point.
Yeah, we don't know. The last thing we're going to talk about is the massive update. This is pretty big news. The game is probably going to update to version 2. We're in version 1.9 right now. And they say it's going to bring a new world, new characters, new missions, and special login bonuses. And based on data mines, it's going to be Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, which is the second series after the original series, aka the best series. But this introduces some new questions that I have, like, can you use duelists across the worlds? Like, can you bring Kaiba into GX? Are they kind of like special dialogue and stuff like that? Are there going to be ongoing events in both worlds? And are there going to be new standard duelists?
That last one's really important to you, huh?
Yeah. And Yu-Gi-Oh! GX is basically a duel academy. That's what it's based on. And Kaiba opened up a dueling school, and the characters are in the school, from what I know of the show.
Mm.
And this happens after the show, so like Yugi's probably like 20 or something. when these guys come out.
Yugi's an old man of 20.
Yeah, I assume he's like 20. And they don't have a new summoning mechanic, so it's good that it's not going to be... There's not going to be synchros or something, like something too complicated right away. And it's going to focus on fusions. So I don't know if this means more cards in the extra deck than 5, because we're limited to 5 right now. So it's possible the extra deck will expand. And there's also a focus on elemental hero cards. I don't know anything about them, but they're kind of like superheroes. And talking about fusion, it might be a good idea to try to get some of the fusion cards like Fusion Gate, Fusion Substitute, and also Fusion Material monsters.
Yeah, if you've got some kind of resources to spare on it, seems like a good move.
But do you think it's like time that this showed up? I know you only know. I honestly only know about the first series too. I know a little bit more about you, just like marginally, but we're both of the old class. Do you think it's time? Like, has the game been long enough that it's time for the second part?
This game has been going at a breakneck speed like since we started it. So maybe it's time in terms of how much they have put out, but it seems really early in terms of how long the game has been available. So this change is slated to happen when the game has...
Late September, I think.
Right, yeah. So the game will have been out for less than a year at that point. I don't know when it came out in the first country, which I
It's like
assume.
late January here, right?
Yeah, it came out in January here because it was right around my birthday. Thank you, Konami, for this wonderful birthday gift. Uh, but I know it was out in a couple countries before us. I don't know when the very first country, which was probably Japan, or maybe it was a small test area. But I don't know when the very first people to get it came out. But in any event, it is around and probably less than a year old for almost all the people playing it. And that's pretty crazy to me that we're adding a new world within a year. It's not like it's just an expansion because we've had several of those types of things. I think that adding the one new world in which there's no extra special summoning method is a good call because it means that it's a much smaller change than it could have been. But like it's not going to, hopefully, and it seems like it's not going to change the central game mechanics very much. So I think it works in that sense, and it could just be seen as like a supersized expansion, but it does seem super soon.
Yeah. Speaking of storyline things, they barely covered the season 4 and 5 of the show, of the first season. Like all that dart stuff. And we don't even know if we're going to see him, honestly. So it's like a lot of the stuff from the first series is still left over.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I do think that I think they've hit all the highlights well enough.
Yeah.
They have almost all the characters that I know and like am familiar with and kind of wanted to see. And it's not... I'm playing this game because it's fun, and the nostalgia aspect was good for starting to get me into it, but most of the cards that we're using are not cards that I previously used or anything like that. So I'm not terribly concerned with them breaking nostalgia in that sense. And maybe the GX brings in more people who have a different nostalgia set than I do. So that's cool. But I remain concerned about the pace of this game. And adding a major new world, depending on how big this expansion is kind of just another example of that.
Yeah, it's going to be confusing when there's going to be two events going on in both. Or, like, I don't know if they're going to abandon this one. It's going to be tough to say.
Yeah, either one of those options would be really weird to me. So we'll see what they do.
Yeah, we'll see. But I'm sure some people are really happy. People who are typically like a little younger than us, or people who just played Yu-Gi-Oh forever and never stopped. They're probably really happy about it. So, yeah, it's coming. Just know to expect it later this month.
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna wrap it up today. We're gonna give a shout out to Doug Diamond-Duel of the Yu-Gi-Oh Deck Talk podcast. He did an interview with us. Want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. He for his podcast, he has a website as well. I think it's also a WordPress one. We will grab the URL and throw it into the show notes as well. But for his website, he did a little piece where he kind of sent us some questions, and we did a little back and forth on an interview, which is kind of cool. Never before been interviewed.
First time, yeah.
Yeah, so that was fun. Asking us questions about like how we got into the game, Yu-Gi-Oh generally, and also like Duel Links, and so it was fun. We got a little bit of exposure for it, which was very nice of him, and it was, like I said, it was just a fun time. So it's nice to kind of do that type of thing for the first time. His website is yugidecktalk.wordpress.com.
Yep. And he also, if you can't get if you love Yu-Gi-Oh stuff, he has one every day, and he talks like 10 minutes about a certain topic. So he focuses on like one deck or one event. So add them to your list if you love listening to Yu-Gi-Oh stuff.
That's right.
Yep. All right, we're gonna finish up today. It's been a long show today. You find this on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and other things. Check out the podcast and more at theduelassessment.wordpress.com. Find our YouTube channel where all this stuff is going to be uploaded as well. Help support us at patreon.com/duel_assessment. Send us any emails at theduelassessment@gmail.com. Or you can find us on Twitter at duel_assessment, me at Green Ranger HS, and DeckTech at HS DeckTech.
That's right.
All right. Happy dueling, everyone.
See y'all next time.